So the death of platforms has been anticipated almost as quickly and as long as the platforms themselves.
Mhm.
As soon as these platforms emerged, everyone assumed they were going to disappear. And we're now almost, we're coming up on 20 years since YouTube
Yeah.
and Twitter. And also in China, Weibo were launched. Even ironically, Twitch was also around the same time. It was launched first as under a different name called Justin TV, and it served a different purpose. But then Twitch was a channel, a separate channel in that space that then blew up because of all the gameplay. So, we've talked for over almost 2 decades now that these platforms are going to die.
Mhm.
Twitter has been dead and come back to life at least 5 times. The same in China, where platforms like Weibo would they talk about it's going to disappear, and now it's continues to be one of the most powerful platforms in the country.
Yeah.
And there's a fascination with the new platforms that have managed to uh, change the game, the platform game, so dramatically as TikTok has.
Mhm.
There's no discounting the fact that TikTok came in with a completely new algorithmically driven model for social media.
Yeah.
That it wasn't based on the design of and the affordances of the way platforms had operated from the past. In many ways, it's the kind of the third wave of social media platforms. The first being the YouTubes and the Twitters that were more about pushing out and building networks of relationships. The second wave was much more of mobile apps like Snapchat and Instagram that were made to and designed to be used by the in the palm of your hand. And TikTok has been revolutionary in the way that it was fundamentally rooted around algorithmic discovery, right? That it's no longer about finding people who shared your interests or values. The network, the platform itself will let you know who they are, and will tee them up and send them to you. And you don't have to join or like or share or subscribe. So the idea that TikTok may in some way threaten the hegemony of YouTube and Facebook and Instagram is a very real one, because you see, for example, Facebook just today declared for the first time ever they lost money.
Yeah.
There's a seismic shift happening out in the world, and these first generation platforms are terrified. YouTube is obviously in a different position as being owned by Alphabet Google. They are still very much in part of YouTube is part of a larger media ecology around harnessing and harvesting data for advertising.
Yeah.
Facebook is as well, but something has clearly gone awry. I will say that when it comes to Facebook and Instagram, who by the way gave us without our knowing it, sent USC money on our behalf,
Okay.
without our knowing or even having access to it, uh, has never come to embrace the creator as a stakeholder in their platforms.
Mhm.
They've given lip service. They've played all sorts of weird semantic games. They've claimed to have the creator program. But at the end of the day, they profess to always being, at the end of the day, they're really fundamentally rooted around what's in their interest as a platform. And they keep the creators usually at arm's length and don't really allow them to get much leeway in. YouTube has been quite different. YouTube has been very singularly focused on the creators. And in many ways, they're at the other end of that spectrum, which is almost allowing or focusing so much on what would help creators make money that they've never been successful at building social networks and communities. In fact, as we pointed out in the book, YouTube was where the creators may have launched, but they quickly learned that in order to engage with their community, they needed other platforms. So creators were fundamentally multi-platform all along. I would suggest that most of the successful TikTok creators are also multi-platform. So it would be a mistake to think that they're building their entire community off of the platform, especially since the platform is so different the way it's designed. And I think TikTok is still very much caught up in the same battles of control over how much do they or don't they let creators succeed. They're very cautious about giving creators too much power because A, that's less control that they have. And B, the truth is there's so many types of creators who want so many different things. Who knows what, if creators even necessarily know what may be best long-term for a sustainable career. So all that is the world's longest answer to the question, is YouTube going to die? Is Facebook going away? And my answer is I don't think so. I think that they are massive, leverage, capitalized tech companies that simply can't afford to not react and respond to competition. The question is whether or not they ever come around to advancing the interest of the creators themselves. As you know, I've written a third book, or co-authored a third book, which is about China's creator culture.
Yeah.
And in that context, we're looking at a whole other set of conditions where creators have become almost too powerful and successful. And now the government is trying to crack down on them because they are not willing. It's the government that doesn't want to give up power, not the platforms. So the government has stepped in and started, shutting down creators and penalizing them. And